Okay, so my name is Jess and I'm a member of the School of Management Employability team. So hopefully I will kind of get to know you, meet a few of you as you kind of embark on your journey through uni. Sorry, just admitting more people. So yeah, we as the employability team, this is probably kind of your first introduction to us. So we are a team of 4 employability consultants, so kind of careers advisors. So we can help you with things sort of searching for grad jobs, placements, part-time work, anything like that, volunteering. So if you are starting to think about sort of jobs and that kind of thing, we do advise you do think about it in your first year. Then, you know, more than happy for you to get in touch with us. Just email somcareers@swansea.ac.uk, and that's the best way to get in touch with us. We also have a team of employability coordinators, so they deal with all things sort of year in industry. So if you are doing a placement as part of your course, we have kind of a team again centred around helping you with the process, keeping in touch with you while you are on placement. So yeah, they are some placements at swansea.ac.uk if you have any questions. But you know, we're really kind of friendly, approachable team, so do feel free to get in touch with us. So obviously today we're going to be going through LinkedIn. So I'm going to just sort of share my screen and get my presentation up. So 2 seconds. Okay, so hopefully you can all see that. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be going through LinkedIn. So to start off, okay, we have got a chat here. So to start off, I'm just going to do a quick poll to find out if anybody actually has LinkedIn. Some of you may, you know, have used it before, or, you know, have a full profile. Some people may think, actually, no, I'm here to learn. So I just want to launch this poll. So if you could let me know sort of where you are with LinkedIn to start off with, that would be really useful. Okay, great. So we've got some results coming in. Okay, brilliant. Just wait a few more seconds. So majority are a no, which is absolutely fine. This is kind of what we're here for. And then a few of you have a full profile. Yes, but my profile needs work, so that's brilliant. Okay, just wait to see. Okay, so that gives us a nice picture. So we will, so we can share the results with you there. So just so you can see that. So we will, let's have a look, sorry. My PowerPoint's not working. We will be going through kind of the whole kind of the basics of LinkedIn. So if you don't have a profile, don't worry at all. And as I said, if you want to go into kind of more detail, we can do a one-to-one appointment with you on LinkedIn as well after. But before I started, I just wanted to mention that this Friday is our virtual careers fair. So obviously this isn't the norm, usually this would be in person, but hopefully you can use this as a bit of an opportunity to actually speak to more employers, because there aren't sort of the crowds that we usually have. So here's a bit of a slide and a kind of few examples of some of the businesses that we have attending. So we've got the NHS, we've got Hargreaves Lansdown, Transport for Wales, and that's just sort of to name a few. So what I'll do is I will ask my colleague Hannah to put the link to sign up in the chat. And then if you do want to register for that, it is happening 11 till 4 this Friday, along with a few other sessions. So while you are at uni, I would try and encourage you to make the most of sessions like this, kind of any webinars where you get to meet any companies, any employers. You never know what that will lead to. Networking is a really, really important skill, and that will kind of become clear through this session. So, you know, this is a great sort of starting point for you to practice that. There is a session tomorrow called Preparing for Your Careers Fair, and that is run by one of the Central Careers Advisors, Gareth Hill. So he's running that session 10 till 11. So again, you can register for that if you want to know sort of how you can prepare and what sort of questions you can ask the employers and that kind of thing. So that was just a little reminder, a bit off topic, for the Careers Fair on Friday. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So as I said, I know a few of you do have LinkedIn, but let's have a think about, okay, what is LinkedIn? So obviously I'm guessing that the majority of you are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, some form of social media. This is obviously kind of social media, but in a more professional form. So it's a platform for, I would say, mainly sort of networking, building connections. Just omitting someone else. It's also an online CV, so you do have kind of your own profile, which is basically sort of an online version of your CV that employers can have a look at. It's the world's largest professional network on the internet, and what we find is that when we are speaking to our graduates, obviously a lot of them apply for sort of grad schemes and that kind of thing. However, when we're kind of having these conversations, we do find that a lot of our graduates got their job through LinkedIn and through networking and reaching out to employers and reaching out to companies. It definitely does work. A lot of the job market is sort of hidden, so it's not all kind of advertised vacancies, and you'll find this as you go through your university life, that you know, it is kind of the first impression that you make, how proactive you are, that makes a really, really big difference, and LinkedIn is sort of a great tool for that. So I'm going to open my LinkedIn in a minute and we'll go through it. It's not the best. I'm not going to say it's a perfect profile, but I'll give you a bit more of an insight into what LinkedIn is in a minute. Okay, so we'll also go through sort of the main features of LinkedIn. So as you have with your Facebook profile, there is a news feed. So this is really good for kind of keeping up with trends, but big commercial awareness. So as a first year, I would obviously, some of you may know what you want to go into, some of you may not have a clue at all, which is absolutely fine. But I would potentially start thinking about maybe areas of interest. So, you know, if you are studying business management with marketing, maybe you want to start following some kind of marketing companies in Swansea or sort of where you live around home to see kind of what updates they're coming up with. Maybe there are kind of people of interest within the sector that you want to follow. So all like the famous business people are on LinkedIn, so you can follow them. So we've got, you know, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, James Carr, they'll all have their profiles. There's certain people that you may want to follow, but yeah, you can keep up to date with news from your industries. There's lots of articles on LinkedIn that are posted daily that you can just keep up to date with, and it's quite easy to digest. So if you are in an interview and you want to show that you are commercially aware, LinkedIn is a great way to kind of stay on top of what is going on in the world. So that's your news feed. You then have your profile. So this is kind of, as I said, your online CV. And as I said, I will go through an example in a minute, and this will make a lot more sense. So on your profile, you usually have a photo, and this is kind of a professional photo. You'll have your education, your work experience, maybe some extracurricular activities, and you can even have sort of recommendations, so people can write and say how good you are and how good you were when you worked wherever. And then one of the most important parts is you have your network. So what we find on LinkedIn is people ask to connect all the time. But what I would always suggest is that if you are networking on LinkedIn, when you are adding a contact, always try and add a note and think about, okay, why do I actually want to connect with this person? What do I want to discuss with them? There's lots of Swansea University graduates on LinkedIn. So if there is, say, okay, so you've thought I would really love to work for PwC, one of the big four companies when I leave university, you can go onto LinkedIn and you can find all the Swansea University graduates working at PwC. And that's a really, really handy tool, because when you're doing your applications, you may want to get in touch with a Swansea Uni grad working there and say, you know, I'm just completing this application, you know, do you have any tips? Do you have any advice for this? Maybe you've got a question around the values of PwC, and maybe you want to know more about kind of opportunities or sort of training courses at the company. So it's a really good way to actually use your network, which is already, you kind of have the Swansea University graduates as part of your network, to find out more about opportunities in kind of the sector that you want to go into. Some people also kind of reach out and ask about opportunities. So as I said, lots of our grads have got jobs through LinkedIn. So, you know, that's absolutely fine to do if it's in sort of the right context. There's also a job searching tab where you can put in all your preferences and state kind of what sort of jobs you're looking for, and then LinkedIn will start to recommend these to you. You'll get lots of emails, and there's a bit of an algorithm so that the types of jobs that you're looking at will then start popping up. Then you've got your private messages, so again, similar to like Facebook messaging, where you can keep in touch with the people that you are networking with. So I know that, again, it's probably a bit difficult to understand this with that slide, but I will share my screen and show you a LinkedIn profile in a moment. So that's just a picture, but I will actually show you mine. So just bear with me 2 seconds. I should add, this is one of our first times doing these kind of webinars. Obviously, usually they're face-to-face, so you may have to bear with me. Right. Okay, so 2 seconds. Okay, I've got this. Right, here we go. Okay, so hopefully you can see my LinkedIn now. Can somebody give me the thumbs up to tell me if you can? Brilliant. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll just give you a whistle-stop sort of tour of it. So obviously this is your news feed. So these are people I'm connected with. We've got companies that I follow. So this is what I'm saying is they'll be posting kind of up-to-date content, and you can also engage with it. So you may want to sort of, if you are interested in a career in sort of the beauty industry, maybe you'd be following L'Oreal and sort of sharing their updates, commenting, and sort of engaging with what they are writing. So yeah, these are kind of updates, and as I said, think about who you are following. For example, South Wales Chamber of Commerce, obviously this is about COVID, it's not the best, but you know, they may have sort of webinars, they may have events where you can network and meet local employers, and by following them you can sort of keep up to date with that. So really have a think about who you want to stay in touch with and have updates. We've got the LinkedIn news, so lots of articles, updates, that kind of thing. There's also a section around learning, so you can do a free trial on LinkedIn and do kind of courses, so strategic thinking, Excel, so potentially that might be worth signing up to for a free trial, because obviously you could put those courses on your CV as well then. Okay, so that is the news feed, and then I'm going to show you my profile. And again, it's not the best, but we'll go from there. So you want a professional photo, and we'll discuss that in a bit more detail. But activity, so engage in stuff, like, comment, share, write statuses. You can open your LinkedIn up so that headhunters will see your profile, and they can see your activity. They can see the types of things that you're commenting and sharing on. So again, the more that you do that, the more active your LinkedIn profile will be, and you can build on that throughout your 3 years or 4 years at university. So, you know, there'll be loads of stuff going on. It could be that we have lots of students sort of posting that they've done a presentation on the topic of whatever, and they've got a good grade, or maybe they've collaborated with a company as part of their final year project, and they can write, they'll write a status and tag that company in. So anything that you're doing, try and make sure that you are sort of sharing that on LinkedIn. And it's also good to remember kind of what you've done as well. So if you attended any sort of webinars, networking events, it's useful to kind of write statuses about those. And it might feel a little bit strange at first, but you do kind of get used to it. Is something that you do get kind of more used to. So then you've got your jobs. So I've got kind of various jobs, and then, I don't know what I clicked on, sorry. Swansea University, and then kind of your description. So what you are responsible for, achievements in the role. Don't just list duties, think about, okay, how have you actually sort of stood out in the role? And you can also add media. So if there's any events that you've organised or anything like that, you may want to put some posters in. So yeah, I'll skim over this. You're more than welcome to connect with me after if you want to. So then we've got education. So yeah, add that in, maybe societies that you're joining at university. Again, they show you're a really sort of well-rounded person. And, you know, any certificates that you've done. So this could be stuff that you've done potentially before university that you may want to add in. Any voluntary work. There's a section on skills where you can be endorsed by people, which, yeah, that section's okay. I think the recommendation section is a little bit better, so people can actually write a bit of a paragraph on what you were like to work with. So I think this adds quite a lot of value. And then, as I said, you've got people that you can follow, so interests, companies, people, and these will be updated on your newsfeed. So you get a good idea there. Basically, on your LinkedIn, you can start to fill in the sections, and it tells you how you're doing. And you can add a profile section, and you can fill, you know, as much of it in as possible. That's what I would say, is try and fill in as much detail. Think about achievements, think about things that stand out, make you stand out, think about skills that you've already developed. If you do know what you want to go into, try and tailor your profile towards sort of certain sectors or certain industries. You can also sort of edit your URL. So hopefully my screen has changed and you can see that, but you can edit your URL. So it's just your name with not a load of numbers, and you can pop your LinkedIn URL on your CV so that employers can see that. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Okay, and then we've also got the job section. So this is kind of the section that I mentioned about, you know, searching for jobs. They do it based on your profile. So the more you put into your profile, kind of the more that you will get out of it. Then we've got the messaging, and then you get your notifications as well. So yeah, that's a very, very quick whistle-top tour of my LinkedIn. We'll go through it all in more detail, but I think it's nice for you to kind of actually see the profile. I think if you can sort of really think about, okay, maybe after this session, my one takeaway is that I'm actually going to sign up, I'm going to create a LinkedIn profile, and then you can slowly continue to work on that as the term goes through. So go back to, again, hopefully you can see my PowerPoint again now. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint? Is that come up on the screen? Yeah, perfect, thank you. Thanks for the nod. Okay. So we're just going to go through a little bit more. So why should I use LinkedIn? Again, obviously there are so many social media platforms that I think, you know, it's completely fine to think, you know, why do I need another one? So 500 million members in over 200 companies. country, gaining on average 2 members per second. So the fastest demographic group on LinkedIn is young people, so more than 40 million students and recent grads are active on LinkedIn. So this is obviously where a lot of recruiters are going to do their recruiting on LinkedIn. Some people use it as a bit of a background check. So check out your personality, your experience and background. When you've applied for a job, it's very easy for a recruiter to go on LinkedIn and just find out a little bit more about you. They may find a little bit more from your CV. And more than 95% of recruiters use LinkedIn regularly. So again, that just sort of speaks for itself. I've got some stuff going on in the chat. Just have a look. Okay, my chat's not working. I think Hannah's probably sorting that out. Okay, so building your profile. So with this vast amount of people on LinkedIn, obviously you want to do your best to make sure that you stand out. And as you can see, there are sort of different levels of the LinkedIn profile. You've got beginner to all-star, and this happens based on what you kind of put in. So as I said, the more you put into your LinkedIn profile, the more you sort of get out of it. So firstly, don't be afraid to make connections. So think about people that you're meeting virtually or in person this year, and that could be sort of academics, teachers, people in our team, people in your class, because you may think, oh, why do I need to connect with them because they're not employers? But if you think actually in 5 years down the line, you may be in a certain job but looking to potentially make a bit of a career move or thinking about doing something else, you may think, oh, actually that lecturer taught me this topic, maybe I'll go to them for a bit of advice, or that person was in my class, I wonder what they're doing now, you know, because we like similar things, something like that. So it's useful to connect with anybody that you meet, because you never know where that connection will take you. Also sort of join groups, so I think I've mentioned that. So anything that does interest you, there's sort of Swansea University groups that you can join. Add a summary to your profile. So this is similar to sort of the personal statement or personal profile on your CV. So sometimes a recruiter won't have lot of time to kind of sift through all the information on your LinkedIn page or on your CV. So it's sometimes quite nice to just put a bit of a summary that introduces yourself, and maybe you highlight a bit of an achievement or something that makes you stand out, or, you know, evidence of skills that you have. And then you could tailor, so say that you're currently seeking maybe a part-time job, you're in industry, so that if somebody does quickly look at your profile, they can see what you're looking for. So they can say, okay, actually we've got a job that would suit this person, kind of quick skim of their summary, and we could, yeah, sort of message them based on that. Recommendations, so I showed you very quickly mine. I think have a think, so like, are there any teachers that could potentially start you off with a recommendation from school? Any sports coaches, anybody that you've sort of volunteered for? So anybody that can write a quick paragraph, it's a really nice thing to add value to your LinkedIn. So have a think about that. We get a lot of students saying, okay, I've done piano to grade 8 throughout school. Is that relevant to put on my LinkedIn or my CV? Or I've played football as, you know, semi-professional. Is that relevant? Extracurricular activities are really, really important. They add a lot of value when you are applying for jobs. I think you get a lot of transferable skills that employers are really interested in. So by playing football to a high level, that can show that you are a really committed person who's successfully able to work as part of a team, maybe has, you know, great leadership skills if they've had like a position of responsibility, or yeah, that kind of thing. Or if you've played your piano, again, you've sort of committed to something, you've done it well. So have a think about what you've done before uni, in school, and think about, okay, actually that demonstrates this skill. So have a think about that. Achievements, so things like Duke of Edinburgh, some of you may have done this Duke of Edinburgh Award and again think, oh, is that relevant? But actually you will have kind of learned a new skill, you will have committed to a sport, done an expedition, so that kind of thing again shows the type of person you are. You want to show that you're proactive, you want to show that you're a well-rounded person, you're confident, so these types of achievements and extracurricular activities can look really, really good. And then, as I said, if you've got some free time at the moment, obviously welcome week, potentially not, you're probably really, really busy, but over the next few weeks, you might have some free time where your assignments haven't started coming in yet. Are there any kind of, free courses that you could do? Are there any webinars with employers that you can attend? Can you kind of work on your LinkedIn so that, you know, if an employer is looking at your LinkedIn or your CV, they can see in the first week of uni that you actually started to develop your skills, or you started to think about, you know, ways that you could sort of enhance your skills for a future employer. So try and be, again, as proactive as possible with that. So this is kind of, again, what I've just mentioned. So who should I connect with? So again, I've mentioned friends from school, family, you know, you may have aunts and uncles, you don't have a clue what they do, but actually they could be doing something that is really relevant to what you want to go into in the future. Companies, so if you go to the virtual careers fair on Friday and you speak to somebody from Hargreaves Lansdown, kind of an investment firm, afterwards, I would definitely kind of make a point of going onto LinkedIn, sending a message and saying, hi, it was great to speak to you about this, this and this. I really like the sound of this internship that you offer. It would be great to connect with you, kind of, and have you in my LinkedIn network. So then, you know, next summer when you're thinking of internships, maybe at Hargreaves Lansdown, you could message the person that you met at the careers fair and say, oh yeah, I'm applying for this now, you know, do you have any tips, do you have any advice? And they may be able to help you. So it's good to add people when you meet them, because you never know kind of where that will lead. So we've said guest lecturers is another one. So people might come into your course to talk about relevant information. Don't be afraid, don't kind of like shy away and just think, okay, that's done. Think about, okay, how could I actually make the most of this opportunity? Can I actually link in with this person? I wonder if they'll offer me any work experience. It's worth an ask, because not everybody will sort of ask that question. So if you do, that could lead somewhere. And obviously mentioned alumni, which is another word for Swansea University graduates. And as I said, that's really useful network to sort of tap into, and kind of, as I said, they're already in your network, so they're more likely to help you because you are a Swansea University student and they've been in your position before, so they'll probably be more likely to help you. So once you've kind of got your basic profile, you've started to kind of follow whoever you want to follow, start to think about your LinkedIn and all your other social media really as a bit of like your own brand. So it's not just kind of like you're everybody else just sharing random things. If you've got an idea of what you do want to go into, you could start writing a blog. So if you were interested, so I had a student last year, she was really interested in fashion, and she's actually gone on to do an MSc in fashion in Cardiff after graduating. So she started sort of using her LinkedIn to follow lots of sort of fashion companies. She started to write her own fashion blog. She also created a new sort of Instagram around sort of fashion. So that was her sort of building her brand, so that if an employer was looking at her profile, that her kind of enthusiasm for that sector was really sort of shining through. It wasn't, you know, something that was potentially unclear. So if an employer looking to take someone on looks at her profile compared to somebody else who hasn't done much of that, then she is the one that is going to stand out because of the effort that she's put into building that brand and showing sort of her enthusiasm for that. So don't be afraid to sort of write blogs, share updates, and have a look what other people are sharing, and have a look kind of what statuses they're writing, and that will help you think about, okay, what can I start sharing? It could be that, you know, first thing you do is after you've attended the careers fair this Friday, you might want to write a little status about that, and, you know, how you found it, who you met. That's another thing you could do. Right, okay. So we're getting near the end. Hopefully this is answering all your questions, but I will have a look at the chat at the end. So I know I mentioned sort of jobs and placements. There's a really useful function. So if you were applying for a job at, let's say, HSBC, you can click on HSBC's company profile, and then you can go on and you can see all the people sort of in your network working at HSBC, and you can see all the Swansea University graduates working there. So again, you kind of got more of an insight into who you're actually speaking with, who you're talking to, who works there when you use LinkedIn. So that these are people that, again, that you could connect with. So you've got the roles, but then you've got the connections that you can make that may lead to a role that you can source yourself. If you are doing sort of a year in industry as part of your course, obviously we help you find those placements. We've got a whole spreadsheet with lots and lots of vacancies, but you are also absolutely fine to self-source and look for a placement yourself. And we have had lots of students that have found year in industry, some internships themselves, through contacts that they already knew, or through messaging contacts on LinkedIn, meeting, sort of, you know, finding an industry that they're interested in and using LinkedIn. I spoke to somebody this morning, so a student who did a master's degree with us. He was looking for a marketing role, and he had an interest in sort of aquariums and stuff like that, actually. So it's quite niche, but he actually used LinkedIn to find a local aquarium, and he's now working with them in a marketing role. So that probably wouldn't have come about without LinkedIn. So think about what it is you want to go into, and don't be afraid to sort of send those messages. If you are not sure what to write, again, we're here to help you. So if you're not sure how to contact a company, what to say when you're sending a message, how to kind of format or put something together that sounds professional, you're more than welcome to just send us a quick email and say, I've put this text together, can you just read it, can you check it? And we're more than happy to kind of go through that with you and give you advice. So don't feel like you are on your own with it. And as I said, we're doing this now, but you could have an appointment about your LinkedIn profile and we could go through it in more detail. So connect with key people related to the roles that you're looking for, and as I said, Swansea Uni alumni. So these are just a few sort of takeaway key points. So always keep your LinkedIn professional. So as I said, you've got your other social media platforms. So your LinkedIn is probably going to look a lot different to your Instagram account. So think about your more professional side. Remember not to kind of post pictures of what you did at the weekend or something like that. When your profile is ready, make yourself sort of easy to find. So there's sort of research around a profile with a picture is sort of viewed better within LinkedIn than a profile without. A profile without a picture looks sort of a bit unfinished, and maybe somebody kind of is less likely to engage. So make sure that your profile is finished, so all finished, you've got your photo, you've filled in all your sections, and then sort of make sure you're easy to find. So you've got your name nice and clear, and you are starting to connect with people. Ensure your profile is as concise and easy to digest as your CV. So when we talk about CVs, we talk about how employers often have sort of potentially 7 seconds to skim over your CV. So it is the same with your LinkedIn. So you don't want to put loads and loads of text, massive paragraphs. Maybe you want to stick to bullet points in your descriptions. You want to highlight your achievements so they're easier to find. But yeah, have that summary at the top so they can, you know, find out a little bit more about you, find out what you're about, and yeah, make it sort of easy to scan. Also bear in mind that people can see when people look at your profile on LinkedIn. So it's not like Facebook, you can't do secret stalking. You can actually see when somebody has viewed your profile. So it will either say, yeah, this person's viewed your profile, this person, but that's absolutely fine. And that can be a positive thing, because you can think, oh, I wonder why that employer viewed my profile, maybe I'll reach out to them. So don't be afraid to look at people's profiles just because of that. You know, it's absolutely fine. That is what LinkedIn's for. It's for kind of networking based on that. And finally, yeah, I've mentioned this, always add a note, because I think I've got quite a lot of connection requests in my inbox at the moment. And because I don't know who a lot of them are, then I'm kind of like, why, you know, I'm not quite sure why you're connecting with me. Whereas, and you know, local employees in Swansea, they might get a lot of requests from students. And if there's not a note and context, then they're completely in their right to ignore. But if you actually say, kind of, hi, my name's whatever, I'm a Swansea student and I'm looking for work experience with marketing. I wondered if I could arrange a chat with you about this, as you know, you seem to work in this sector. Then they'll see why you're getting in touch and they'll understand, if that makes sense. So yeah, as I said, again, you can get in touch with us and we can help you with that as well. So I think that is it from me. So yeah, that was a very kind of quick tour of LinkedIn. I'm around at the end, so I'll stop sharing now. If anybody has any questions, I can go through the chat. I don't know if Hannah has, yeah, Hannah's potentially helped you with those. That's brilliant. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in. Thank you so much for listening. As I said, email somcareers@swansea.ac.uk if you have any questions, if you want to book an appointment, if you want to go over LinkedIn in more detail. That is absolutely fine. We're here for you kind of throughout the term, Monday to Friday. So we've got a question from Callum. So what do I put as my specialisation? So that could be kind of maybe a sector that you're interested in. So maybe you want to specialise in finance or accounting, or maybe you're interested in going into marketing. If you're not sure, you can leave that sort of thing blank. But if you have got an idea of what it is that you do want to go into, then you could potentially add that onto your LinkedIn profile. Any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Yes, so we're recording this, so this will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel and the Canvas Employability Hub. So if you have missed any of this, then yeah, you can access this at a later date. Oh, brilliant, someone set up a profile already. So yeah, that's very proactive, brilliant. At what point should students contact you for help with securing a year-out internship or grad job right out of uni? So you can literally contact us, you know, whenever. So you could contact us sort of to have an appointment next week, and we can go through the process with you for year in industry. Usually students start searching for their year in industry at the start of their second year, but I would advise kind of getting in touch with us before that, and you'll also need to complete the employability skills module before you go on your placement as well. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, I don't think we've got any other questions. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. I have previously had 4 years of working within TV, which isn't now relevant to my changing career. Is it best to remove this and have a clean start? I would say no, because there will be skills that you've picked up from 4 years of working. You've got kind of 4 years professional experience there. And if you are applying for something completely different, I would say it's best to be kind of completely honest. And, you know, I think changing career is a brave thing to do. So that shows something about you. So I would say, as long as it's clear in your summary that you're looking for opportunities in something completely different, I would put that at the top. But I think pick out the relevant skills that you've got from your 4 years experience and keep that in, but make it clear that you're looking for something else. Okay. Okay, I think we're at the end of the session, so I'm just going to say a really big thank you for coming along. I hope it was useful as like kind of an introduction to LinkedIn. Yeah, get in touch whenever if anybody has any questions. So it is on careers and the emails in the chat. But yeah, I'll stick around if anybody does have any questions. Thank you. Thank you. Do the people here have any questions they wanted to ask before we finish?
Awesome. Well done.
Thanks. Thanks. There were loads. I was like, oh my God.
I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.